Welcome, everybody. What's up? What's up? What's up? So glad to be back in the house on tonight. Listen, Lady Drina is not going to be with me tonight. She told me she is exhausted. And I understand. She has been working a lot, and God has been moving and has moved. So we just want to give a shout out to Lady Drina. And we do have another host as well who has joined the team. So it's actually Elder Marcus, Lady Drina, and Minister Randolph Carter, who will be joining us in just a few moments. But, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Conversations with the Culture. Tonight, we're getting the rundown. We're getting the rundown. And I'm going to tell y'all all about it and let you know on some very important updates, some recent events and some past events that correlate to the recent events, so that everybody is up to par and up on page exactly knowing what is going on. It's exciting, but at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, there are some things that you all need to be aware of and you all need to know. What's up, LaShawn? South Carolina is in the house on tonight. Y'all better recognize. My grandfather, Floyd Barton Sr., is from a place called St. George, South Carolina. And some of the people that go to my church are from South Carolina. And St. George is not that far from Charleston. And guess what? Yeah, so I got some South Carolinian, and my grandfather was definitely a Geechee. That's what they say. They say he was a Geechee. I remember talking to him. He didn't talk that much. He was already an older guy when I remember him. He was an old man. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, my grandfather, Floyd Barton Sr., was born in the 1800s. My grandfather, not my great grandfather. He was my grandfather. That's what I tell y'all. He was an old man when I remember an old man. Deacon Atkinson, what is up? Good to see you in here, brother. Thank you so much for joining us on tonight. Hey, listen. Had to clap my hands because Sister Beautiful Dr. Vanessa Harrison Williams, my sister, I love you so much. And guess what? Be on the lookout. I got something coming, especially for you, especially for you. I'm so glad. I love you so much. God is mighty. Hey, Angie, thanks so much for joining. Listen, everybody, y'all come on in. Hey, Dr. O'Brien. Yes, come on in. Everybody, y'all come on in. We got a lot to cover tonight. First of all, before we begin, again, hey, Sister Nichols. Hey, Sister, that's Loretta Faye Nichols, for those of you who don't know. That is the Loretta Faye Nichols, for those of you who don't know. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just putting it out there so that everybody knows. Listen, uh, I do love you, Dr. Vanessa. I do love you. And I'm so glad to see that God's hand, his hand. You hear that? His hand. Hey, Cheryl, Sister Cheryl. Hey, what is going on? His hand. Listen, y'all have to be excited about this news, but I got to catch y'all up. So I'm just waiting on Minister Carter to jump in. But before he jumps in, I just want to kind of do a recap on Sunday. This past Sunday, it was amazing. When I tell you all, God is really doing something. That's right, Sean. His hand, his hand. God's hand is in everything, even when we don't see it, even when it seems like God is not working, his hand is in it because we are believers. We are believers. We are saints of the Most High God. We are believers. And so we have to have what is called unnatural faith. Our faith has to go beyond just the regular plateau. It has to go above and beyond so that we can see, hey, Mama Johnson, my other mother. That's right. I got several moms, y'all. I'm telling you, I have several women in my life who I call mom. They love me and I love them, and they show me. They show me. They listen. I am so appreciative of the advice, the love that they get. Hey, Dr. Brockington, listen, y'all gonna have me calling out all day. Drina, what's up? Lady Drina, another miracle. Listen, y'all, we got miracles in the house. I'm not telling their stories. I'm gonna let them tell it, but miracles are in this house on tonight. Dr. Vanessa Harrison Williams is a miracle. Lady Drina Penn, these are miracles. They are in the house. Y'all don't know the story. You all do not know the story behind any of the things that have been going on. But God, his hand, again, his hand. And this is why I know that the purpose of God and what is going on right now is specifically because God's hand is in it. Even though it look, hey, Deacon Williams, brother, but God, yeah, oh, whoa, 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 but God, but God, but God, listen, but God, his hands, y'all, his hands are in everything, even when we don't see it, even when we don't understand it, even when we don't realize it, even when we can't feel it. God's hand, y'all, and that is the theme. That's the thing. Hey, Minister Chelsea, blessings to all of you. Blessings to all of you. His hand is in it, y'all. I'm trying to tell you all, his hand is in it. And I know that God's hand is in it simply because of the fact of the amount of anointing, the miracles that we have been asking for, the release that we have been asking for, the everything that we have laid out before God. We have been praying, we have been fasting, we have been believing, and God has been showing his hand to us. And there is a scripture in Psalms. It says, he has in his hand the sustenance, he has in his hand the provision to provide to every living creature, whether it's healing, whether it's finance, whether it's food, whether it's clothing, whether it's shelter. God has the sustenance. It's in his hand, y'all. It's in his hand, and his hand is in even this situation that we are in, even in this situation. So my miracles are in the room watching. My miracles are in the room watching, y'all. The miracles that God has performed, they are in the room tonight watching. The services that we have had have been so phenomenal, so phenomenal, so phenomenal, and so clear. And let me explain this to you all because I want everybody to know, regardless of how the enemy comes, whatever package he puts himself or wraps himself in, however he presents himself, it is always a cover. Remember, he's going to present himself as light, and he's going to present himself slickly and coming to you in a place where it is so unawares. Hey, my sister is here. Another miracle. Listen, y'all, miracles keep coming into this building. And you know what, Deacon Leon Williams, I'm going to include you in that miracle part. You know why? Because you and Dr. Vanessa Williams are one. Y'all are one. So you are part of that miracle. God has his hands in this, y'all. I can't even like put it all together the way that he has his hands in this. He has his hands. You are a miracle, a walking miracle, because you prayed, you believed. This is the key, y'all. Belief. When you can't even see that it is being worked out on your behalf, you have to believe that it is. You have to know that it is. And you have to stand firm in the fact that you know that it is all in his hands. That's why the songwriter wrote the song. It says, all in his hands. I put it all in his hand. Listen, I just got a text, y'all, from somebody. And she says in this text, this is God, y'all. Mercy and truth has met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed. Listen, y'all, you have to understand the miracles that God is performing now. On these past Sundays, we have had members who have not been able to come due to the enemy's attacks. The enemy has launched attacks against their physical body, because you know what? The reason that he went against the physical body is because he knew that he couldn't make their spiritual faith waver on the surface. So he had to come against the place where he knew, what's up, Brother Rico? What's up? He is a miracle worker. Another miracle just walked in the room. Another miracle just walked in the room. That's Brother Rico Hines. Y'all, listen, I'm telling y'all, I believe. I got a and see y'all doing all of this. Y'all throwing me off track, but y'all coming up in here. And all these miracles one by one are coming up in this room. This is just hey, mama, mama, listen. Oh my God, y'all, we're gonna get into it tonight. My host is on his way, and y'all keep Lady Drina impressed. She's watching. but she's relaxing, she's resting, she's resting up, she's been very exhausted. But listen, y'all, I gotta bring this brother in. Brother,
I,
middle,
I,
elder, grand dog, Kata. What is going on, man?
oh man, God bless. I'm just glad to be here. I've been working all day. I'm just kind of getting in,
I know it, I
but
understand, I understand.
I couldn't miss this if my last
Not
name was
tonight.
missing.
Not
If my last name was missing, I wasn't gonna miss this.
Hey, listen, I was just telling the people because we got a lot of miracles in the room. So
Yes,
before we
sir.
even get diving into what we're going to talk about tonight, I had to express the amount of miracles that have walked up into the room,
My
bro.
my.
Dr. Vanessa Harrison,
Oh my God.
this Lady Drina Penn, that's another miracle that she
Oh,
walked into the
Shanda
room.
Labaho,
So go ahead.
Sandia. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna add Deacon Leon Williams in there because the two of them are married, so they
Of
won.
course.
That's a,
Yeah.
that's a miracle right there, right? And we got Brother Rico Hines walked up in here. He's another miracle.
My.
Listen, let me tell y'all have no idea the prayers that have been going up.
Oh
And
my
I'm not
God.
talking about those of you who know, but those of you who don't know, you don't know the prayers that have been going up for these righteous saints. The prayers of the righteous availeth much. And we know that all of the services that we have been having as of late, bruh, have been just crazy.
Oh my God. The presence of the
Services.
Lord. The presence of the Lord.
He has been in the building
Mm, 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 mm,
on
mm.
everything. He has been in the building. The presence of the Lord has met us. He has brought us miracles because we
Yes, sir.
believe.
Yes,
And
sir.
that was all we had to do, really, was believe.
Mm,
So
mm, 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 mm.
taking our faith from the runway to the airways. You know what
Come
I'm
on
saying?
in
Like
here. Come
just
on in
just
here.
skying, just skying, just skying. And I wanted to show a clip, but I'm just gonna post it as a reel because we had Mother Adams came in on Sunday morning and blessed us with a
Oh.
prayer. And,
Because let me tell you something. But I know I'm just getting in,
oh,
but let me
you
tell you
talk,
something. Oh my God, the praise that was in the house, and what's so crazy about this, Elder Marcus, is this has been consistent
consistent.
every time we've met. But it's like, oh Lord, every Sunday,
Yes, every
every
Sunday
Sunday.
after
I
Sunday,
can. I'm just going back to even last Sunday where
Sunday before last.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. The Sunday before last, Pastor wasn't even able to speak
Oh
because
my
the
God,
presence was in the room at such
so
a
high.
intense at a at such an intense level. And then this Sunday, it was like, okay, we want to go to that same place, you know.
Bro,
But
oh my God. Oh my
but
God.
I'm telling you, it's like we want to go to that same place, but it's almost like, okay, we controlled it enough to get the word this Sunday.
Yeah,
and,
this Sunday.
and
Hey, Sister Lincoln, Sister Sherry, Lincoln
it
Sherry,
was
so good
something
to see
else,
you.
man. It was something else. My God.
Yeah, this Sunday we pulled back just enough, but I think the thing was is that the Sunday before last, it was just so high. There was just no way,
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah.
We
No,
love you
there's no
too.
reason.
We
Yeah.
love you too, Sister Lincoln. We love you. There was just no way we would. Pastor was even going to be able to. There was just no way. I
But
mean,
you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. I was speaking with Elder Jones, and I was telling him that's the one thing I appreciate about Pastor is he. This is no shade on no one. Let me just put it like that. But
of
he
course
doesn't
not.
mind letting God have His way. And even I remember earlier on where Pastor he actually had the conversation. He said, listen, if God is moving, he said, listen, I'm gonna back up. He said, listen, if the people want to praise, if people want to dance, he said, I'm just gonna cut my message. That's all I'm gonna do.
Because God is
I'm,
doing
I'm gonna
something.
cut it short or not speak at all because if God is already doing what He wants to do, if God is already doing what He wants to do, there's no need for me to get up and do anything.
Bro.
And that's one thing I appreciate about Pastor Derek W. Hutchins II. Man,
Yes,
a
man.
man of God. I'm telling you,
Yes,
a man of
absolutely.
God.
Absolutely. He is. Hey, Sister Ashley. Hey, listen, Sister call Mama. It's a lot of people in here saying what's up to you,
Oh,
Minister.
hello, hello, glory.
They call it. They want you to know that they watching you. Listen, let me tell you, because of what God has been doing,
Yes,
I think that we are going to see um, God's hand even in this
my
situation that
my
we're
my
in.
my.
We have it. We have to have what I call an outlandish expectation.
Oh man, oh man. Would you elaborate on that for a second?
Yeah, absolutely. The reason I'm calling it an outlandish expectation, Minister Porter, is because we have to. And let me make sure I'm back in on the live on my Facebook page. The reason that I'm calling it an outlandish um, faith is because it has to be beyond the simple and the normal. It has to go
Mm.
what you can see,
Mm-hmm.
what you can feel, what you can understand. You have to get it into your head that it's not about what you feel, it's not about what you think, it's not about what you see. It is only about what you believe that God is going to do.
You know
Because
what?
go ahead. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You went mute. You put yourself on mute, bro. You on mute. You on mute, bro. You muted.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
There
I
you
was
go.
talking. I'm sorry. I said it's funny because while you were saying that, it kind of reminds me of the story of the children of Israel as they were crossing over into Canaan.
Mm,
They were on. They were in Jordan. I mean,
yes,
they had to cross over, sir.
that's right.
And
Are
I think
we in that place?
that's what I'm saying. We're at the crossover. That's what I truly
Yes,
believe. And if you remember something about that story, there was some that wasn't willing to cross over.
that's right. That's right. That's right.
You
It is.
know, man, it's. I'm sorry. I just had
It
to say
no,
that.
no, it is that it took an amount of faith that was past their normal. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you think about it, man, every day we see things happening like this season. We God deals with us in seasons.
Mm-hmm.
With us in seasons and in times. So season is compromised with time, and time
Mm.
is compromised with season. So
My.
con- and in those seasons, God has to do something. So sometimes in the seasons, there's turbulence, there's winds, there's fights, there's wars, there's
Mm-hmm.
misunderstandings,
Yes,
there are
sir.
things that have to be done so that God can and will. He
Mm.
is determined through us to get the glory out of the situation. So our
Mm-mm-mm.
faith has to be that incredible, crazy, stupid faith that just like I believe the apostle said a couple of weeks ago, he said, I can't be around anyone
Mm.
who does not have the same level of faith that I have.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm
If
with you.
you walk into a room and you're coming in, if the first thing out of your mouth is doubt, I'm gonna show you the
Yeah,
door because you can't even
exactly.
be in this place with me.
Exactly. Exactly.
And we have to encourage each other every day, all day,
Yes, sir.
whenever, like we do one another. We
Yep,
talk.
absolutely. Absolutely. I'm gonna tell you something, Dr. Marcus. What's funny is I believe um
Brother Wilson, man, you're gonna make me cry, man.
to a certain degree, let me tell you something. I truly believe that in this test, in this struggle, that New Life as a ministry, and I'm gonna say it like this because it is what it is. It's two different factions,
Yes,
but I know what side I just happen to stand on and be
and
on. It is what it
I'm
is.
solid in it.
We exactly ain't no ifs ands or buts, but I'm telling you the relationships that's been developed as a result
Yeah,
of all of this,
yes,
the
absolutely.
fellowships.
Yes, man. Yes,
This is something that's never occurred before.
it
You
hasn't.
know, and God, I truly believe, man, God is doing something new in the ministry, man. It's phenomenal. I'm telling you, gifts are being stirred,
That we didn't even know people had.
and the best is yet to come. I truly believe that.
It is.
The best is yet to come. There's gifts that's being stirred. There's opportunities that's being availed to the
Yes,
membership.
Yes.
It's a beautiful thing, man. I'm telling you, there's no place I'd rather be at this time. I'm
And
telling
me
you.
either. Me either. There is no other place. And I would not want to be at this moment in my life, at this season in my life, at this time. I
Hmm.
would not want to be under any other leader than the pastor that is pastoring this church right now.
Yes, sir. Yes,
He
sir.
has a kind heart.
Hmm.
He is approachable.
Hmm.
He is not narcissistic.
That's true.
He is comfortable in his own skin.
Yes, he is.
He's not trying to be better than you.
That's right.
He knows who he is in God. He loves his children.
Yes.
He loves his mother.
Yes.
He is,
Let me stop you right quick.
go ahead.
And even as his father rests, he loves his father.
I was getting right there.
Okay, I'm
Even
sorry.
in
I'm sorry.
but you
I'm
good.
sorry.
You
I'm
good.
sorry. I'm
You
sorry.
good. You good.
I'm
That's
sorry.
okay. Don't apologize.
I'm
Because
just
I was
saying.
right there. You
Okay.
just finished the sentence for me.
Yes, sir.
In death, in life and in death. And what people need to understand, and what I pray that people understand is that in life we go through things and challenges, even with our parents,
Yes,
our
sir.
siblings.
Hmm.
It is opportunities, though, even in conflict, to make peace.
Hmm. Yeah. That's good.
And we just want to make sure that it is done in before things happen. And I'm glad
Oh
that things
man,
were done right
man,
in the end.
man.
So
Let
it
me
was
let me tell you something. It goes back to. I mean, this. I don't want to push
no. Let's
the.
talk.
I don't
Let's
want to
talk.
push. Oh, are we talking? Okay. I don't want to push
Let's
the.
talk.
That's why I said I don't want to push the conversation in a different direction.
Okay, we gonna circle back.
Okay. 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 Good. So I mean, the thing about it is, I looked at something, even yesterday in the courtroom.
Yeah. Okay, that's where we're going anyway. So let's do that.
Okay. Let me tell you something. I looked at something and I said, it's amazing. And this is just the sentiments of my heart.
Yes.
I was sitting there, I was sitting, you was on my right hand side, and
Yep.
Elder Dingle was sitting to my left, and I would just pay attention to the small details. And I'm looking,
Hey, Pastor Rose.
and I'm looking at our pastor, and I'm like, such a
Yeah.
phenomenal leader. And even when he was put on the stand, he represented New Life so well,
With integrity,
with integrity,
no lies,
with confidence,
with
all of that. That was a
confidence.
beautiful thing,
Yes.
man. And
Yes.
I mentioned to you,
Yeah.
and that I'm telling you something. It really did something for my heart yesterday. I'm sitting there looking. I'm like, wow, look at all that's coming against this
Evil.
man.
Yeah. Hmm.
And
For no reason.
I don't know if I can say it, but I'm going to just say it. If whatever.
This
If
is
I'm
our
wrong, I'm
platform.
wrong.
This is the Second Amendment. You have free speech.
Okay, thank you. And I saw even the attorney that's representing Pastor D. And I mentioned this to you
Hmm.
because I look at the small things. I look at the fact that Mick Millen, I'm just going to call his last name,
Yeah, I got to talk
when
about that too.
when when the case or when the hearing was over, he immediately took his son, the bone of his bone,
And
the
flesh.
flesh of his flesh,
That's right.
took him to the judge,
Introduced him
introduced him.
to the judge. Hmm. You do that for your son. You know what I'm saying?
But you,
You,
but you,
ooh, we man. You.
I
Do y'all
know.
hear what he's saying? For those of you that are listening, do you all hear what Minister Carter just said? The irony of this is incredible.
Let me tell
You
you
pointed
something,
out something that is so ironic.
and it's funny. That wasn't the only. That wasn't the only thing. I looked at the fact that in support, Pastor Dennis, his son was there, right? I I know we talking. We just talking.
Yeah, we just talking.
We talking.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's just funny to me
Mhm.
that in all of this, and I think no, hold on, before I'm naming names in that. I'm sorry.
If
That's just where I am.
that's what I'm in the room to do that tonight because
I'm
I'm
looking
trying
at the fact. I don't know if
to read them.
Elder Percy have any sons. I don't know if Rick Love have any sons.
None of
I
them.
don't know. I know Pastor Errol Carter have a son. I know that.
Yes, he does. And daughters.
I don't know if Pastor Purnell Smith have a son. But for y'all to come on, y'all love this leader so much. I know. I may have taken
So
it there too early,
no, you're
but
not because I want you to. You're not taking it there too early. Here's the thing. Um, they love their children
that's
and
all.
would support their children and would never want what they are doing to Derek Jr. to be done to their seed. They would not. But they are standing against him. But if
Mm-hmm.
anyone were to do that to their children,
Oh man.
the irony, that's what I'm saying. It's ironic. That word ironic is strong, bro. And you just brought it out. All of those men who have children, I don't know if Rick Love has children.
I don't either.
I don't know if Elder Pressey has children,
I
whether
don't
they be
either.
daughters or whether they be sons. None of them
Mm-mm-mm.
would feel
Wow.
the way that and I don't want Pastor Derek W. Hutchins II to feel that he is alone in this. And I know he
Exactly.
doesn't.
He don't.
But at some place in his heart, it's like I'm contending against all these men who say who said they love my father. And then you got one in the courtroom who outright hated his father.
Hmm. Oh
That we
man.
know one
But,
definitely,
but,
which is
but,
Elder
but
L. Carter,
before
hated
we
him.
go there, these same people, these same individuals, and I can start naming because I know enough to know what I'm talking about. There are several individuals who stood against him.
Hmm. That's what
That
that's the keep
hear
reading.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
go
Hear what I'm
ahead.
saying now. Hear what I'm saying. That lived in the house,
Yes.
ate out the same pot
Put their
that
food,
this young
put
man
their
had. To,
feet under his table.
his father's table. That something that his father. I mean, I don't mind saying it. I mean, I'm the musician of the church, right? I've heard enough,
Hmm.
but I also know enough backstory too. I'm from
Yes,
South Carolina. That's what a lot of people don't understand.
that's right. They don't.
One
They
thing
don't.
about it. One thing about it. I look at something like I
Me
remember.
either, Elder
I remember
Banks.
Bishop. I remember
Yeah.
Bishop getting up, introducing even Elder Presley. He talked about. He said, "I knew Presley as a kid in high school." He said, "I
Mhm.
bought him his first bike to get back and forth to school." He was living in the house with Bishop. I mean, maybe this
Mhm.
is too much info, inside
No, it's
information.
not. The thing about it is it needs to be brought out so that people can see the trueness of these people because people will smile in your face. But just like Pastor used to Bishop, y'all call him Bishop, but he was our pastor. He
He was
was our
our
father
pastor.
pastor
Absolutely.
first.
Mm-hmm.
And he talked about these backstabbers. Said they'll stab you in the back and then be the same ones that ask you where the blood coming
Where the
from.
blood coming from?
Mhm. These are backstabbers.
And that's another thing he used to say. He's I could understand. He Bishop would make that reference concerning David, if I'm not mistaken. He would say, "He's I could understand uh, if it was my enemies, but it was my friends, the one who
Mhm.
I had sweet counsel with, the one who I went into the house of God with. These are the ones." Man, let me tell you something. I seen something yesterday as we were standing there. If you remember, Elder Marcus, it's me, you, Pastor, Elder Dingle, Deacon Shan. We were standing there, and they just walked in. And they just walked in like,
Mhm.
"Oh yeah, we're here," And I'm like, okay. I'm looking at these individuals. I mean, and I anyway. We seen them walk in, And I'm like, okay, y'all, what are y'all supporting? Y'all walked in, but what are y'all supporting?
A zero, a
What are y'all
negative
really
zero.
supporting? Are y'all here because of a, a lie? Are y'all here because y'all really truly understand what's going on here? And let me tell you something else. Before I get there, and I promise you, you have the show for the rest of the night. I'm just going.
No. This is. I'm going to be asking you some your thoughts and opinions on a lot
Okay.
of things that I'm going to be saying tonight.
Okay. But when you, let me tell you something. I live by principle, and that's what I live by.
Mm.
I looked in the courtroom yesterday, and come on, it was, you know, a blind man could see it. That in terms of support, I'm not going to name no names in this at
I
this
am.
not at
I'm
this
gonna.
time. Not at
I
this time.
am.
I'm
I'm
not.
gonna name them.
Not at
I'm
this
gonna name the
time.
name.
I'll
That's okay.
say.
I
I'll
got
say.
you.
I would. I
I
would.
got you. I'm gonna do it for you.
When you look at the support, it's unbalanced. Let me tell you something. I'm just
And the reason I'm going to name names is because it's not a secret. They
okay.
showed themselves.
Okay,
So
I got you.
and
I
one
got
of
you.
them pretended to be a friend to me, but in actuality, she wasn't.
Okay,
And yeah,
I
I
got
said
you.
it.
I got you. I got you. I got you. But let me tell you, for you to have maybe eight,
It was approximately that.
that's what I'm saying, maybe eight members, pew members, and everybody else is
Visitors.
visitors, outsiders. That's
Mhm.
some of the names that I've named prior
Ain't
to,
nothing
as you
wonderful.
know, they were. So let's just do it like this. Maybe 13 people compared to, this is just,
Yeah, and you know what we have every Sunday and every Tuesday night versus what they have Sunday and Wednesday nights.
I trust me, I know that. I already know. I already know. What I'm saying is, you have 13
Yes, it
people that support you,
is. Mm.
that supported you on yesterday. Only five, no, eight, I'm sorry, eight, maybe eight members compared to, you have on this side, close to, if not 50,
It was a little over 50 people.
little over 50 people.
Mhm.
What are you
And you know
fighting?
what I'm sorry to cut you off. Let me tell you what the sweet thing is. That I picked up Mother Ann Smith, helping her out, and she
Mm-hmm.
goes over to them and speaks.
Mm-hmm.
I commend her, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because right now Elder Marcus is, he needs some prayer. I don't want to
I'm
say the
praying for my
wrong
brother.
thing.
God knows
Yeah.
I'm praying for my
I don't
brother.
want to say the wrong thing, you know, because I don't understand. And I've never been this person, Minister Carter. I have never been a double-minded person
Oh
regarding
Lord.
my friendships with people. I've never done that. I have never looked anyone in the face who I was a friend with and lied to them or even tried to pretend like I was trying to get something out
Mm-hmm.
of not somebody that was my friend.
Right.
I have seen this play out over and over again. Some of them, not all of them, but in particular is a couple of people over there who, I would look at and would be like, I don't care what your decision is. That's your decision.
Mm-hmm.
You make that choice. I made
Absolutely.
mine and I'm settled with it. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with yours. But I never pretended to be something to you that I wasn't.
Right.
Never did that. So, that's what bothers me. And I can't speak to that because don't you ever smile at me in my face.
Mm-hmm. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, Dr. Marcus, if I may.
Yeah.
One thing I've learned. and I've recognized about um, this whole thing is how we could become enemies one to another. We could become enemies one to another because of a decision.
A decision to do wrong. That's what it was.
I got you. What I'm saying is this, and I'm looking at even from my perspective. From my perspective, everybody in New Life know who Brother Carter is, but But from the beginning, from the beginning, you almost looked at it as someone who have a disease, someone sick, some that type of thing because you made a decision.
Yes.
There's it should never be to the point that we're first of all we are taught this as young adults coming up, maybe not as kids, but young adults coming up. We can agree to disagree.
That's right. Absolutely.
We can agree to disagree and still live in harmony with each other. We just have two different perspectives. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And that's one of the things that I realized that's taking place. I'm sorry, y'all know I'm geeky. Sorry, that's taking place um, in this whole ordeal. Just because I have an opinion, that don't mean that I love you different.
No, it doesn't. And I agree with you on that. Um, I don't love you any different, but I'm not going to allow you to mistreat me and mishandle me because
I
we have
agree.
differences of opinion. I'm not
Hmm.
going to let you do that. And um, and I'm not going to let you. I'm going to speak the truth, regardless of whether it hurts me or whether it hurts you. You
Hmm.
know, especially when people's souls are in the balance.
Yes,
And one
that's
of the
what's
things
most
that
important.
it is very important. And the thing about it is, let's get to it. Here is, ladies and gentlemen, one of the things that did happen is that there is going to be a continuation. The judge is going to make a decision. He did not come to a decision on yesterday. There were some very riveting and emotional episodes in court yesterday. The first person that was called to testify was Deacon Gregory Atkinson.
Hmm.
And he was antagonized by Herb Macmillan. And he had a complete breakdown
You
on
did.
his,
You did.
a complete breakdown. And it was so traumatic that it silenced the whole court, and the judge had to take a recess for 30 minutes. There
Hmm.
was a 30-minute recess
Hmm.
because of how Herb McMillan triggered Deacon
Hmm.
Gregory Atkinson. And he
Hmm.
told him, don't you ever talk bad about my bishop. Don't you open your mouth
Hmm.
bad about my bishop. And I was in shock, bro.
Hmm.
I couldn't even move. I was, I looked at you and your eyes was big, my eyes was big, everybody's
Hmm.
eyes was like, whoa.
Hmm.
He had a major breakdown on
You
that stand.
did. You did. You did.
And how did that make you feel? Seeing that.
Bro, I'm sitting there. You know, when you look at now to mention Deacon Atkinson, when you look at a strong man like that, this is a man's man.
Yes, he is.
This is a
Yes, he
man's
is.
man. And to see the emotions expressed, man, no one, no one in the room could deny that. Oh, this
Mhm.
man is talking from a place of hurt,
Yes.
a place of just grief.
Yes.
We like, man, I even, like I said, I was sitting between you and Elder Dingo, and I looked to my left, and Elder Dingo was pulling his handkerchief, wiping his eyes,
Wiping his eyes.
wiping
Yeah.
his eyes. He's like, I know how he feel. I know how he feel. And he started talking about what Bishop meant to every one of us. And just to see, I saw a lot. I saw a lot in that moment
He was
because
broke.
he was broken. He was broken. I'm gonna tell you what I saw in that and all of that. I seen when he did express himself the way he did. I saw her McMillan was like, oh man, he's no, I'm not because he was like, oh man, what did I just? No, he really was like, what did I just do? All right, we try to keep it serious. I'm serious, but that's what he did, and he also expressed something. He was expressing how he would be willing to do whatever it took to relieve the stress off of Bishop,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's I think that's the thing that was, man.
It
I commend him. I commend
I
him.
do too. I mean, I know he wasn't a he was he was he was so he was shaking.
Yeah, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Deacon Atkinson's brothers and sisters, Deacon Atkinson was literally shaking. I never saw that before. And the emotion was it was raw emotion.
Mhm. Mhm.
Raw emotion.
Mhm.
Deacon Atkinson broke
He
on
did.
stand. He broke and he told that man, he said, ever,
Mhm.
don't you ever talk about my bishop. I
Yep.
love that man.
Yep. And
I
he
love
he even told Pastor DC, and he said,
Bishop. Never.
Bishop never wanted you to have his church. He said he wouldn't allow you to lead the people out of a dog food bag,
Sure
something of that
would. Yep.
nature.
He sure did. He was
That's what he
right
said.
though, because he had intimate conversation. Dennis ain't never pulled out no money to pay no mortgage for that church.
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
Never.
no.
Never. So all that stuff that Macmillan was saying was a farce. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say this because, ladies and gentlemen, you also have to understand that who the people are that Dennis is aligning himself with.
Oh my God.
Now, I, I'm I'm I have no opinion on Pressy anymore. I have no opinion on Rick Love anymore. The other guy, Pernell Smith, I know him, but I don't know him. I don't have an opinion. I'm gonna leave it at that
I
because
have an opinion.
yeah, and we're gonna get to that. I'm gonna let you express that. The reason I say that I don't have an opinion on those guys is because any man who would find out truthful facts and 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 not even compare to a person whose past leads up to their presence.
Mm.
I question their real true integrity. I really do. I wonder about what they believe in, how they believe, and how they live. I really do.
Okay, let me insert this right quick.
Go right
Is
ahead.
it is it integrity or is it intent?
Both. They don't have any integrity, and their intentions are not good. I'll
That's
just
my
say that.
point. That's my opinion.
Mhm.
That's just my opinion in all of this. Your intentions. That's why I said prior to. How can you say you love the leader so much,
Mhm.
but
And
no?
you side with let's now what where we are. I'm going to tell you. Let me jump to this real quick because I want to open this up. Right,
Okay, okay.
there is going to be a continuation, and I'm going to tell
Mm-hmm.
you why. Because they have filed more motion. They have filed so many motions. Right. Do you understand what the original injunction was? Do you know what the
Well,
original
what was
injunction was?
it? What was it?
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, The original injunction that was filed is to say that this faction, which is under Elder Derek W. Hutchins II, is infringing upon them,
Oh
upon
wow.
them to be able to worship, upon them being able to praise. They don't want us on the property at the same time as they are. And so what they want is to have us completely dismissed from the property altogether. That's the first thing. And then they try to dismiss our countersuit, knowing that they filed first.
Mm-hmm.
They sued to first have us removed. So the whole premise of theirs is to keep us from coming onto the church property at any time.
Wow.
So when the judge granted equal access, that's why the judge granted equal access. So
Mm.
I got an understanding of what they first filed their suit for. They don't want us around at all.
Wow.
And that is primarily coming from Dennis and his influence on.
Mm.
And then understand also that the attorney that he has, those of you who have been with New Life under Orlando Institutional Church
Institutional.
of God in Christ,
Mm-hmm.
understand that Herb McMillan was a member and a board member
At one time, yeah.
at one time. Now, Bishop dismissed him from the lawyer team because when there was a lawsuit against the national church,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Bishop, then superintendent, was not satisfied with his work. That's when he hired attorney Neesmith,
Mm-hmm.
and the case was won under attorney Neesmith, but under McMillan, it wasn't going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So he has been upset with Bishop since then because it was after that
That he
he
left the
left the
church. He left
church
the church. Yeah, I heard
and
about
has
that.
always had a vendetta. So now you have this person as the lawyer for your case using the money that's coming in the church. You are using the money that is coming into the church by way of tithe, offering, and the renters, the leasees, to pay this man to keep everybody out of the church who hated your brother. But now this is your lawyer and your good friend. Then you go and make another commandeer, another confidant is the other man who has hated your brother since
Oh man.
2014 and use the scripture to justify it, and people follow that too.
Mm-mm-mm.
So from 2014 to 2022, you ran this man through the mud, and you knew he was running your brother through the mud, but now that's
Mm-hmm.
your best friend, and I'm talking about Elder Earl Carter.
Yeah, that's sad. It's
So
very sad.
those are the people that are on your team. And then the people that know it, Rick Love, Robert Pressey, they know that.
But maybe
And
they
they are
funded him.
comfortable.
Maybe they funded him to a certain degree because now
And the man
uh
was asleep in the courtroom yesterday, mouth wide open, knocked over, knocked out, leaning. I
what
said,
else?
if you get on YouTube and do any kind of thing about the courtroom, you must have got it secondhand because you will sleep through the whole process. Mouth open, lean back, head lean back with your mouth open. I said, it. Lauren still tapped me. Look.
It still is no listen. That's why I don't even
That's
sit- I
one
don't
of
even sit
the
my I
cool.
don't sit my still nowhere. I'm telling you.
Can't do it no more. I can't do it no more. I can't do
But
it. I was telling bro, be quiet, be quiet. I'm trying to be professional in this courtroom, and you got me over here laughing.
but let me tell you something now. Maybe like I said now, maybe this just maybe it's just an opinion. It's not factual. I'm
That's what
thinking
conversations is, opinions, bro.
I'm thinking that possibly,
I just read the comment.
you have Elder Pressey out of New York. You have uh, Elder, he's an Elder Rick Love from
Out
out
of
of
Ohio.
Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
You have Pastor Elder Pernell Smith out of Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
These are Ain't, as far as I know, they're deep pockets. That's why.
Yes,
That's why I ask: is it integrity that we should? I mean, is that something that we should be concerned about, or is
we
it
do need to be
intention?
we need to be
Oh,
concerned about both, because if a man has no integrity, he's
yeah,
already
but that's
trustworthy.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
And then you know his intents, his
That's what I'm
intentions,
saying. When you look at the intent,
they go together.
that's what I'm saying.
Yep.
It's like,
Yep.
okay, if I know someone's intent, I'm no longer necessarily looking at the integrity, because if someone can, because integrity have to do with character.
Yes, it does.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, it does.
And when I look at intent, that's something totally different. Your
Yes.
intent shows me your integrity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You see what I'm saying? And that's
Sir.
where I would just, I'm like, okay, I'm looking
And
at
if
all
it's
these guys.
different, they have to show me, because I'm at this point where your words don't mean nothing.
Oh no, 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 no,
Right here, your words don't mean a thing, bro.
no, 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 no,
Um,
no.
mm, mm. Oh, I'm getting text messages from big from people who who
I
their
got you.
words I trust. I can't say it all, but
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy. Listen, check this out. I think that it's important to understand. It's important to ponder what their intentions are.
Mm-hmm.
It is really very important to ponder what their intentions are. I don't understand how you could never want to have a conversation with the son of your friend,
Oh.
to even say to him, "How you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Is everything all
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I hate that this is going on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be neutral in this."
Mm-hmm. Ain't no.
Or not, if you're not going to be neutral in this, I'm praying for you. I'm praying for
Mm-hmm.
you all.
Mm-hmm.
Praying for you both, that there is an amicable
It's a
solution.
it's a bribe in there somewhere.
Yeah, that's the only conclusion that we can come to,
That's
minister.
that's
Ah,
that's I mean, that's my opinion.
that's the only conclusion that we can come to, bro. Like, what else would you be doing this for? Because you already know, number one, this is what some see, more details came out, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't know that the letter was fake, it's more fake than we thought it
Ooh.
was. We found out it was more fake than we thought it was. And then I'm going to tell y'all a conversation that I had with Dennis Hutchins. And that was another thing. It was killing them because Deacon Atkinson refused to call him Pastor
Right,
Hutchins.
right, right.
He
I
said
remember.
he is an elder.
He's an elder, yeah.
And then there was also a distinction, which I have been saying for a very long time, which you have been saying for a very long time in different conversations, that assistant pastor and associate pastor
It's
are
two
two
different things.
very different
Two
things.
different things. Yes.
And Dennis Hutchins was never an assistant pastor to, or I'm sorry, an associate. Yes, he was an
He,
associate.
he
He
was an
was
associate,
never
he was an
the
assistant.
assistant pastor. Bishop Hutchins didn't have
He
assistant
didn't
pastors.
he did.
He didn't
He
have
did.
co-pastors.
He didn't.
There's only one. There's only one. So what we found out about the letter, if I
Oh
may,
Lord.
is
Just
that
just don't name no names.
I'm not going to name the names, but what we found out about the letter, I'm not going to name the names yet, but there is going to be a day when these names come out. Y'all, the more we get into this, the deeper this thing goes.
Yeah.
It goes back for a long time. So just understand that we are considered the Scooby Doo gang.
Mm-hmm.
If it hadn't been for them pesky kids, you would have never. We those pesky kids, Randolph,
Yeah,
Minister Carter.
I got
We
you.
those pesky kids. We those snooping kids.
Mm-hmm. That
You
know
know,
too much.
know too much and started
Mm-hmm.
digging up and making other people dig because we were asking questions and other people started saying, "No, wait a minute, now
Mm-hmm.
you're right." So let me lead you to this. When the letter was signed, it was never fully read because it was never fully there for the people to sign.
Exactly.
What I found out is that the letter that was presented, y'all have to understand that the signatures were
It was never there.
lifted from the original letter and placed on the so-called succession letter.
Mm.
It's deep, ladies and gentlemen. When I tell you the level of wickedness to secure something, now, so there was a portion, they only saw a piece, but when the letter was all finished, it was something totally different. And and someone had to come back and apologize. One of the people in cahoots with this thing. That's right, brother. That's right. Copy and paste, sister. Copy and paste, brother. Forgery. When the letter was presented, the person came back, and the first letter that they saw was totally different from the letter that Dennis them said was a succession letter. That's where the signatures came from. The signatures came from, and the person had to apologize and say, I'm going to show you the real true letter. Ladies and gentlemen, saints and friends, brothers and sisters, when I tell you all that this thing is deeper than what you see, it's ugly underneath. Now, we also found out, and they wanted to bring this out in court yesterday, but if y'all remember a couple of weeks ago, Lady Drina and I were on Conversations with the Culture, and I was saying, would you press charges for this amount, that amount?
Oh God!
But we capped it off at $500,000, ladies and gentlemen. But yesterday we found out that it's closer to $1 million. It is closer to $1 million in under a year. You got a house that belongs to the church. You're driving cars that belong to the church. Your bills are being paid by the church. A forensic audit has got to be done because that's the only way we're going to find out exactly what happened to that money. And somebody, I'm not the, well, let's pray the Lord.
No.
I'm not that person.
Let me tell you something.
God deals out punishment.
One thing I learned, Dr. Marcus, I've been in this church. I've been in the sanctified church all my life. We have been exposed to the spirituality of what church is. We haven't been exposed to the business of the church, but it's twofold.
It's twofold, bro. You're right.
After the dancing, after the
hook of
prophesying, the laying the hands on it, it's still a business side of the church that most people don't pay attention to. And I mean, I'm all for it.
I am too.
I'm all for it.
I'm prepared for it. I'm prepared because I know how to separate the two.
Exactly.
I know how to separate the two. There are some people who don't. And for the people who cannot, the people cannot separate the fact that the business side can sometimes be extremely very ugly. But if you keep it right and do it right, it doesn't have to be. But herein lies the problem. When people see the stream, and I'm talking about the income stream,
I got you.
That changes how they view and how they operate and how they move, especially if it is an extremely substantial amount. And it keeps going back to that thing. For the love of money is the root. For the love of.
And and that goes back to a question that I asked, and I, brought before you. It wasn't last week, but it may have been 2 weeks ago. If you take money out of the equation,
bro,
who's going to serve?
Who
would be willing to serve?
Who would?
Who would do it?
That's the question. If money was not a part, who would be willing to serve? And I posted that, and this thing's still getting hits. I posted that, bro, and it's still getting hits. If money were not a part of the equation, who would still serve?
Mm-hmm.
You already got away, and they're trying to find it. And a forensic audit is coming.
That's good.
It's coming.
That's right.
The judge is going to render a decision. They want the judge, Dennis faction wants the judge to render a decision to keep us off the property completely,
Mm.
all the way off the property. He doesn't want us to have any portion of the property, but here he doesn't want us to be on the property at all. He wants to do whatever he wants to do, how he wants to do it, and the people that are on his side are in agreement with that.
Mm.
I don't understand, especially for those who are there post all the stuff that went on. People think they know, but they don't know.
They don't know. They don't know. Yeah.
They think they know, but they don't know. And so I'm going to say that from one side of, let me say, if you've been in a courtroom, people that you've been in the courtroom, you know, when you walk into the courtroom, there are two sides. You have a right and a left. Okay. So let's say on the right hand side, if you're facing the front of the courtroom, on the right hand side was All New Life Church of Orlando under Derek W. Hutchins.
Mm-hmm.
The second, inside inside the bench in the jury box was filled also with New Life Church of Orlando. On Dennis' side was maybe 8 members
Mm-hmm.
and maybe
5 visitors.
5 to 7, probably 5 to 7 visitors.
Mm-hmm.
And I call them visitors because they do not come to the church and they don't sit their behinds in our pews.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that what is happening is the people are actually seeing. If you would stoop to, this is what I wanted to say. I'm going to say this because I remember my conversation with Dennis Hutchins in February. We had a discussion. This was around that time that he was talking about. He wanted to talk about. This was the Sunday he was mad because I think it was the Sunday he was mad because you left.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him you had to fly out to
Rhode Island. Mm-hmm.
Rhode Island. Okay. And I was having a conversation. And he was talking about, you didn't tell. I said, listen, you talk to him. I'm not your go-between, telling no grown man. You talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna do that. My dad said, no, I wasn't raised that way. To go tell so-and-so, no, you go tell them yourself.
Mm-hmm.
My father would never tell me, go tell so-and-so nothing. He said, you go over there and you tell it.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the kind of communication that I have. I ain't gonna send no messages.
That's right.
So you build the communication in the conversation. If I remember, if that was there, it could have been another day. It could have been another because we had a lot in February. Because that was right after Bishop had passed. We are trying our very hardest to keep the spirit alive in the church.
Mm-hmm.
Cloud has settled in. Demons are starting to infiltrate the sanctuary, and you could feel the presence of them in there. You could feel the presence, the demonic presence that was coming into the sanctuary. So he wanted to sit down and he wanted to run he wanted to run Sister Vernice Rivers Hutchins in the ground. He wanted to run her in the ground, and told me that the attorneys showed him a letter that she didn't just want any money, but she wanted to destroy the whole church. I said, well, let me see it, because I'm not just going to sit here and take your word for it. I said, I asked him when he started saying that, I said, how do you know that? And he said, I know my attorney showed me the letter that she wrote. And I said, okay, all right. I need to see it then. Well, I ain't going to show you that. Well, then to me, if I can't see it, to me, it don't
I can't.
that to her. And I also asked him about his relationship with Pastor Derek W. Hutchins II. Now, this is what it came back to my memory because of the fact that they were talking about that succession letter.
Mm-hmm.
This man said to me, and if he say I'm lying, I'll put my hand on a Bible and I'll swear before for a million people that Dennis Hutchins said this.
Mm-hmm.
That man said to me, that the head of the Church of God in Christ told him to rewrite the succession letter
Whoa.
and put Derek Jr. in the succession letter. And
Wow.
he said, I'm not doing that. Now he said that to me. And if he say I'm lying, I'll tell him he a liar in his face. I sat there in that office when he said that, and he said he was not gonna do it. And that was, this was, now remember what Bishop Shear said. Bishop Shear said at the funeral, it is our desire that the two work together.
Work together, yeah.
Right? So the people heard that part, right? But they don't know what he said to me in February, which was Bishop Shear told him to ask him. He said Bishop told him to rewrite the letter. And he said something to the effect, I might be misquoting it, but he said something to the effect that I don't know that man. I don't know him. I guess he was talking about Bishop Shear. But you do know Bishop Shear.
Well, he could have possibly been talking about Derek in his own way, Pastor Derek, because one of the conversations he had with me when I was talking about, y'all them working together, and one of the things he told me personally, the same type of thing. I could look him in his face, and I've said it. He said, "I'll be a hypocrite that now have a relationship or try to form a relationship with my nephew. I never had a relationship with him.
Because you didn't want one.
And that's terrible. That's terrible. And he even said on another account in a meeting with me, he said he's not welcome here. I said, I don't understand what you mean. So he could have been.
I'm sure he probably was when he said I don't know him. He probably was. But if you think about,
but that's crazy. No, hold on before that. But I know from my perspective, that's crazy.
It is very crazy.
Y'all lived in the house together.
He grew up with.
You grew with him. You done been
right.
That's your nephew. Yeah, okay.
He's definitely not.
So he had to been talking about.
He was talking about Bishop Shear. He was talking about Shear.
Obviously.
Yeah, and so that makes me wonder again about that succession letter.
Well,
because we know now that it was a fake, but the whole thing, like everything that was,
like I said, the intent,
the whole intent behind it, and this makes me question even some of those females who are hearing these things and are not wondering, well, is there some validity to this? Let me step back.
Ain't just the females.
I'm talking about some of the ones who me personally that try to be friends with me personally.
I see what you're saying.
But what in actuality just fishing.
I got you.
Because even in that same question, even in that same conversation that I had with him, he said there are two brothers of his. He said he don't get along with Derek Jr. and there's another brother that he have that he don't get along with at all, and then one that he barely get along with, but he tolerate.
Wow. Okay.
It ain't but three of them left.
No, two left. Two brothers left.
I'm talking about all together.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it ain't but three of them left. So one of them you don't get along with at all. The other one you barely get along with. We already know who the other one is. I'm not calling his name, but that was the conversation. So if you can't get along with your own brothers, how in the world do you show love to people? It is. How do you show love to people when you can't even love your own? You can't. Charity begins at the home, and I'm not talking about in your house.
That's right. Your blood, your peoples.
Your blood, your people. You can't even get along with your own family. Me and my brother don't talk every day, but I love him. And I'm not going to ostracize him. I ain't gonna do everything he asked me to do, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ostracizing him. So you'll say to me, and really, I'm a stranger.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just something that I just cannot conceive in my mind, that a man telling me I don't like my own brother. I'm definitely, if you can't get along with the people in your own family, that says something more so about you than the
That's
other
a
people.
that's a dysfunctional
It
situation.
is extremely dysfunctional.
I couldn't imagine. That's the thing that had me so perplexed for, and I mentioned it to I mentioned it to him. I mentioned it to even his brother,
Me too.
um, Randall, Elder Randall.
That's
Um,
that's the one he said he could barely get along with.
well, I'm
The
just
other one he really can't stand.
I'm saying that this is. I said it to both of them. I mean, because I couldn't understand. I mean, because I know how I was raised. You know, I come from a family. It's six of us: three boys, three girls.
Oh shoot, Jesus Christ.
Three boys, three girls. And my thing is this: I just couldn't fathom that because I have one child. This is the same thing I told Randall Hutchins in particular. The same day there was the so-called hostile takeover, and I explained to him the conversation that I had with Pastor D in the office that day, where I talked to them about coming together, and he's like, "No, he's not welcome here," and whatever. And so I said, "Man," and how he even told me that, I'll be a hypocrite. And the crazy thing about it is, I thank God I got a witness because in that conversation, when I was talking to Pastor D, I wasn't the only one standing there. I'm not gonna mention who was standing there,
Mhm.
but someone else heard him. And like, what? I'll be a hypocrite to now to try
Be his friend. Mhm.
and I told Pastor D, I said, I said, man, your nephew needs you more now than he ever needed you.
Ever, ever.
His father is gone. He's the only child. You the I guess
Patriarch now, you the
I guess the
oldest in
patriarch.
the family.
Basically, at this point,
You
you're the
pretty
oldest.
much. He the oldest living sibling. He's the oldest living child out of his parents.
I'm like, he needs you more now.
Well, the person who was there just said they was there. They in the chat.
Oh, okay. Well, he said it. I can't
He
see what
said
you
it. You
see.
didn't have to say it.
He heard it. And God in heaven be my judge. I'm saying to myself, I said, oh no. I said, no, how can you lead me in uh, the spiritual things?
Right.
In reality,
That is
how
very true.
how can you lead me in the spiritual things when you yourself you're harboring unforgiveness? How can you tell me how to forgive? Let's say if I had a problem, thank God there is no. I'm just saying. Let's say if I had an issue in my own family, and I came to you, and I came to you as a
Mhm.
spiritual leader for advice. Hey, Pastor, how can I deal with this? Me and my sister falling out right now.
Mhm.
I'm using that for an
I
example.
know, of course.
Me and my sister falling out right now. How do I go to my leader? Listen, how can what can I do to you know reconcile? What can I do? You don't even have it. You can't give me an answer. Flip
No,
side of the coin. Like I mentioned this before, and I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but I'm going to say it. I don't care. My thing is this, and one of the cliches of every one of our services, this is our last act of worship. This is our last act of worship. We're going to take up our offering at this time. When clearly the Bible talks about how if you have unforgiveness in your heart,
you don't even accept your offering.
he don't accept your offering. So what are
Mhm.
we doing here?
Mhm. Mhm. You know, there are reports. There are reports that board members knew and know that the letter
It was
was
fake.
fraudulent
Mm-hmm.
and what and they won't step forward.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even trust
Mm-hmm.
them.
Mm-hmm.
Can't even trust them. I don't know if all of them knew it because one person is certainly acting like he didn't know. And I blame a lot of them, the original board members,
Mm-hmm.
not the ones who tried to fix things, but the ones who tried to cover things up and hide it.
Mm-hmm.
It is known that they knew,
Mm-hmm.
and they still will not even. And that is the most sad thing. How can you rust the people in the church are just as bad, and this is they are just as reckless living as the one
Mm-hmm.
you use the church as a cover up,
Mm-hmm.
but they are just as reckless living as a person who don't know or care
Mm-hmm.
anything about the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Because how would you know that and
And
still
support
stay
and support
in
that.
it and support it and stand in it? Support it and stand in it.
But
It is
let me tell
sick.
you something. All you gotta do, and I even noticed, and I know I know a little bit about that what you're talking about.
Mhm.
Um, they carry guilt on their face. You know, when they carry guilt on their face. That's something you gotta always pay attention to. They carry guilt on their face.
Mhm.
I mean, if you ever pay attention, you can pay attention to a child. When a child knows that they did
Oh
something
yeah,
wrong,
your dog,
even your dog,
your cat.
it's just something in the eyes that says, "No, I did
What you
not do
do?
it."
Yep, they sure do because they know better.
They know,
You're
and
absolutely
so,
right.
but I'm telling you, man, on the Marcus, I truly believe that righteousness, righteousness is going to have the final say.
It's got to.
Righteousness is going to have the final say.
Mm.
Mm-mm-mm.
Our leaders have turned their backs to the altar. Isaiah 51:4. Therefore, hell hath enlarged herself and opened her mouth without measure. My
Wow.
God, my God, my God,
Mm-mm-mm.
my God, my God. You know, there is
Mm-mm-mm.
when it is all said and done,
Mm-hmm.
when everything is done, we and that's why I pray. I said, Lord, even in this, let me be in your will.
Yes, sir.
Because in this, I have said some things that were not
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
godlike. I
Mm-hmm.
have had some strong feelings
Mm-hmm.
um, that were wrong, and I know that. And and a lot of that is out of anger and righteous indignation.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm digging for the truth, you know. And I'm not only am I digging for the truth, not just for myself, but for the people.
Yes, sir.
And sometimes when you're digging for the truth for people, everybody doesn't like it.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, number one, you're contending for the faith.
Yes, earnestly.
You see what I'm saying? And that's vitally important. It's and I have to say this. I commend you. I commend you as one of the younger leaders in the church. I commend you, and I commend your stand. You are an example. You see what I'm saying? I'm being real. You are an
Uh,
example for generations to come, and that's why you have to do it.
yeah.
That's why you have that all. That's why the call. That's why the burden is so heavy. You know, I
It,
remember.
it's
I remember
brother.
you saying earlier on. You was like, "Man, if I never heard God's voice ever before, and if I've never been so certain in something that what God wanted me to do, I have to do this,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And so I
Mm-hmm.
commend you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, no, it's good because you know what this these conversations that we have, Dr. Carter, keep me humble. They really keep me humble in this because, hey man, so Brother Morgan, appreciate you so much, brother. He said we thank God for both of you. You
Yes, sir.
know, it,
Likewise. Yes, sir.
it there are things that we're doing. We have to stand firm. We have to stand strong because people are depending on us
Mm-hmm.
to not only give them updates, but also to show strength in this,
Yes, sir.
to show strength and to stand for what is right, even when it feels like you will fish. 'Cause for a little while, we felt like we were fish swimming upstream, fighting against the current.
Yes, sir.
And that's because the information wasn't out there altogether. We kind of knew. Thank you so much, y'all. We thank y'all. Thank y'all. No, Lady Drina said, I don't regret my stand. We have endured some things,
Yes, sir.
Um, we jumped out there, we jumped out there. The music department jumped out there.
Yeah.
Uh, and what the other people were saying in private, the music department was saying out loud.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
And
ever heard that they just mad because it had nothing to do with that.
it had nothing
It
to
had
do with
nothing to
that
do
at
with
all.
that.
Nothing. Because
Because
you're
one
talking
thing about it, it's
months of
crazy. You
communicate.
know, it's one of those things where I heard this from TD Jakes, and I'm gonna let you, get back to it.
No, you good.
Um,
Say this.
TD Jakes said something, and I'll never forget this. It was a video that was going around on um, Facebook or social media for a while, where TD Jakes was talking to his musician, and he was even telling his musician at the time. He said, "Listen, God gave you a gift. Your gift didn't come from me."
Mm-mm.
Which means you can go anywhere and your gift is going to make room for you.
For you. Hmm.
So it had nothing to do with none of that. No
None at
what?
all, bro.
None of that.
None. None at all. And that was the whole premise of the things that we were trying to say in the
Mm-hmm.
first place. We were always trying to say, because it goes back to, after he had the whole showdown with Brother Wilson. And Brother Wilson kind of left quietly.
Yes, he
He
did.
said what he had to say, and he
And got
meant
up out
what
of
he
there.
said, and he
Mm-hmm.
was, because he wasn't going to back down from being truthful and honest.
Mm-hmm.
And he had words with Bishop too, and Bishop
He did.
appreciated
He did.
Brother Wilson because Brother Wilson stood his ground.
Mm-hmm.
And Bishop loved when you stand your ground and you're
Yes,
right.
sir.
When you right,
Yes, sir. It's not. It's man. Trust me. I know.
he said, "Thank you so much." Um, and and so with um with Dennis, when you tried to stand your ground, his thing is you coming against my
You
authority.
against me. Yeah, exactly.
You
You
against
trying
me.
me.
You against me. I'm against the wrong that you're doing, and I'm not going to put up with it. Unfortunately, people don't always see that, and the only thing that people see is that you are trying to attack them. That we lost Brother Minister Carter. He'll be back on in just a few moments. If he don't, we only got 5 more minutes left anyway. But people see it when you stand your ground and you speak truth to power. People who are dictatorial in their mindset and they want to run and control everything, they're going to see what you are doing as an affront to them, as disrespect. But we had several attempts to have meetings. We had meetings, and the meetings, when we would have the meetings, we would always leave the meetings with questions. Like, there was no resolve here. There was no answer. We didn't get anything out of this. We didn't understand what was going on. So We had to come back and say, can we meet again? Because we didn't understand what you were saying. Okay, he having technical difficulties. All right. He said, Randolph said that he is having technical difficulties. Okay, all right, no problem. I only have a few more moments. Dennis was begging for he was he there is a thing. If you are when you have leadership skills and you are a leader, you don't need to beg anyone for their allegiance. And that was one of the things that was always being asked to a lot of people, me in particular. One of the ones that he asked, he said, "Are you with me? Do I have your allegiance?" And I said, "My allegiance is not to you. My allegiance is to God. As long as you are the pastor, I'm going to be faithful to this ministry." And that stood out in my mind as like extremely very questionable. I just did not understand, why would a person ask people that? And so there were certain ones that he would go to in the church to see where we were. He asked Lady Drina, he asked Minister Carter. I'm not sure who else he asked besides myself. We weren't trying to I thank you so much. I just got a text from somebody. They said, "You continue your assignment. You only have to answer to God." That is so true. That is so true. I am going to continue, because I remember when I heard the Lord speak to me. He spoke to me, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. That's right, Brother Wilson. That's right. I heard the Lord when he spoke to me, and he said, "I have appointed you and I've chosen you for this time." And I've never been so sure, y'all. I'm sitting in the gym and I could hear God speaking. I had to get off of the bike and look around. And if you've been in the gym, you got music going on this side, you got weights clanging on this side, you got machines running. It's a constant hum. Everything is just going. And out of all that noise, I heard God say, "Marcus, I have pulled you for this moment and this time. Stand firm, stand still, speak the truth." And I said, "How am I going to do this?" And I don't know how to do this, God. This is all new to me. The Lord gave me every area. He put counselors in my way to help and guide me, to speak to me. Lady Drina and I, we jumped out there, and we had our own platforms before, but because this thing was so vast and big, we had to get out there and really open the eyes of the people, because I know the people did not know. And Mama Gloria said, "Thank you for shedding the light, letting us see," because a lot of people did not know. And once we started to speak on it, then he really started to show his hand. He really started showing his hand. He started showing his hand towards the people. He showed his hand towards the food ministry. And I mean, he did it early. He did it early. He showed his hand right off the bat. Y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all this. Before we even got into any of this, when Bishop died, our whole thought process was only one thing. And that's right, Lady Drina lost her job behind this. But she's a miracle. She's a miracle. She lost her job behind this, but she's a miracle. Oh, Minister Randolph is back, y'all. He's back. I was just telling the people while you were out, brother, that we watched all of this stuff unfold, and how we tried our hardest and our best. We gave it our best effort to try to work with this man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We That was what we decided. We were like, we're gonna work with him. We're gonna do this. We're not gonna, we're gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. We're gonna work with him, and it didn't work. It didn't work. He wasn't willing to work with anybody. It was either,
Here's
you
a
know,
way or the highway.
his way or the highway. Um, one thing that I'll never forget is how the lies that were just it, even if when you know something is a lie and you don't stand in it, I think you're complicit.
Mm-hmm.
You're complicit. You're just as guilty. Um, I called Tangela a liar. I did
Mm.
because that's what she is. You and you cover up things. And that forensic audit is going to point to so many different things, y'all. I want everybody to know it's almost $1 million that we need to find out what happened. $1 million. It's in that area. It's in that ballpark. That is a lot of money. That is a lot of
Wow.
money. Think about that. How many families do you think 700 plus $1,000 can sustain?
Wow.
Just think about
Well,
that.
I'm thinking about it from that perspective and how much ministry. Um,
And the sanctuary falling apart.
exactly. I
So we
sat there as I text you, Elder Marcus. I
tell
was.
them what happened in the sanctuary at the funeral.
Let me tell you something. I just hope it don't. Well, it's gonna come out obviously
Oh,
through
we
my
took
mouth.
pictures, bro.
But
It's already we've already taken pictures and video.
okay. Well, the thing is, I was sitting in the sanctuary just yesterday morning before the court case, and I was sitting on the organ playing for a funeral for someone who had a transition in the community, and right in the middle of the service, the bench just started sinking, but like basically collapsed. The family jumped up, and I'm like, oh my God, this cannot be happening.
The bench fell through, bro.
Just falling apart.
Falling apart. The church, y'all, listen. The church maintenance of the church is at an all-time low.
Mm-hmm.
Those tenants do not. The ones that use the sanctuary and the ones that use the fellowship hall,
Mm-hmm.
they do not take care of the facility. It has fallen apart.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say that church was built in three phases: 60s, 70s, 80s. Those benches have been in the church since the 80s. And all that time, people have sat on those pews.
Hmm.
They have never caved in,
Mm-mm.
ever.
No,
We got
because the thing about it is when we moved into that particular location, I mean, everything was um, up to par. I would say, except we had some electrical little issues, little minor things or whatever. But um, as far as the cosmetics of the church, that was never an issue.
no, never issue.
That was never an issue. Uh,
Grounds are trash. I was walking around the grounds yesterday. I was just looking. I was picking up trash. I mean, just picking up trash and looking at it. I said, "This is ridiculous."
mm-mm-mm.
The inside of the sanctuary is falling apart, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
It's falling apart.
The smell, the stench,
Oh my
the
God.
um, I went I was at the church, as you know as well. We talked about this on Sunday night. Um, I went to the church to finish wrapping up, Sunday morning service for a few things, and one of the Haitian congregations were in the sanctuary, and one of the ladies from the church came to me. She says, um, um, "Did you guys clean up the trash that's been in the
In the
restroom
bathroom.
in the
That was
restroom?"
one
She
of the
said,
Haitian congregation was asking.
"Yeah, that's what she was asking me."
Wow.
She said, "Did you guys clean up the trash from because there was trash left in there this morning that was there from
The week
last
before.
week?" And I told her, I said, "Well, look, I'm just a musician. I'm just here, just you know, wrapping up the service that we had earlier. I'm just I'm taking care of business around it. And so she was like, oh, okay. And then she came back around and said, okay, well, it was taken care of from this morning, but when we came in here this morning, there was trash overflowing in the women's restroom, and from the one in the foyer as well as
Mm-hmm.
the one in the hallway to the right. You know what I'm saying? I said,
Mm-hmm.
well, I can make a phone call to see what's going on, but at this point, we don't even have access to the sanctuary to know what's going on. So
Right. And it's definitely not on their list. That's not on their priority
exactly.
to even see what's happening in the sanctuary,
Mm-hmm.
to even monitor, because you don't have the mindset to do it.
Mm-mm.
It's not it's not in your mind to do it. You have to have a mindset. You have to I mean, it's just simple acumen.
Mm-hmm.
Just simple acumen. You know things need to be. You're not following up. It's not your concern. The only thing you want to do is get the money and look like you living high off the hog.
Hmm.
You want to buy new suits, new shoes, new glasses. You want to buy Bentleys. You want to do this. You want to do that. But God's house is in disarray.
Mm-hmm.
While you are taking the money like the sons of Eli, Hophni and
Mm-mm.
Phinehas, and you're
Mm-mm.
taking the goodly and you're spending it on yourself
Mm-mm.
instead of taking the funds and using it to keep God's house in order.
Mm.
That is not the actions or the characteristics of a good leader,
A godly leader.
or especially a godly leader.
And I'm gonna say it like that because, like I said this several times. One thing Bishop would always tell us: hey, anything that was out of place, he'd tell you quick, hey, this is God's house.
It's
Whether
God's
that was
house.
by action,
Hmm.
whether that had to do with the cosmetics of the church, he would tell you, listen, this is God's house.
That's right. Have some respect
Have
and
some respect.
reverence.
Have some
Reverence.
exactly reverence.
Reverence his house.
This
He
is
said, "We
God's
know it's
house. This ain't
material
your
things,
house. This
but
God's
it's
house.
God's house." So that brings me to the other thing. He said, Dennis said at his Bible study the other night, "This ain't the people's church. This is the Lord's church." And Bishop couldn't appoint no successor. Well, if that's the case, then how did you become
Hmm.
arbitrarily the successor?
He said
If
he was. He said he was graced with it.
grace by who?
That's a good question.
Because yeah, I know it wasn't God. Because if God graced you, that's different.
Totally different. It's totally different.
But you wanted to insert yourself like in God's way and do it. There was a wickedness in your motives. You were wicked. You are wicked, a wicked man.
But you know
And
what? And I'll even say it like this. You know, and I hope this is received and understand correctly. Where yes, this is God's church, but God, uh, he holds us responsible
to take care of his things.
to take care of the things. You know, He's no longer dropping physical manna from heaven.
Mm-mm.
You see what I'm saying? We're
Absolutely.
responsible. We're his hands at this
His
point. We're his
feet,
feet.
his
We're his
mouthpiece,
mouthpiece.
his ears. Yeah, you are absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Herein lies the other thing too. uh, With you saying that, here's the thing. God is not concerned about the building. The
Mm-hmm.
church
The
is
people.
flesh, the people,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now we are fighting for a place to worship.
Mm-hmm.
We are fighting for a place to be home. Like we don't have to carry the tabernacle around
Mm-hmm.
this one. And so the fight, honestly, is not against the people who attend the services, whether they are attending under Pastor Derek W. Hutchins, or whether they are attending under um, Dennis Hutchins.
Mm-hmm.
Those people that attend the church and sit their behinds down in the pews belong to New Life Church of Orlando. The fight is with the antagonizer, or the enemy, which is operating inside of Dennis Hutchins,
Mm-hmm.
which he has allowed himself to. Well, remember, well, the Bible says that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers,
Mm-hmm.
rulers of darkness, against spiritual wickedness in high
Yes, sir.
places. So you have esteemed yourself to a place of highest. So coming to the regional things, you've allowed the money to come in and take over. You want prestige. You've chased after these things all of your life.
Mm-hmm.
You chase these things all of your life. And people have blown up in your head. And I know there are some because I remember going back. What was that bishop name who came to the churches always be throwing out $100 bills and stuff?
Oh,
Talking about those
Bishop
projects.
Wheeler. Bishop
Bishop
Wheeler.
Wheeler, when he said that you finally gonna get what you deserve.
Mm-hmm. That's what he
Bishop,
said.
that's what he said. You
Yeah.
finally gonna get what you
I know you
deserve.
wasn't paid the way when Bishop was here and alive. You wasn't paid your worth. You wasn't paid.
So that may have Bishop, have he ever went down to that house that the church owned that
Hmm.
then is being rent free?
Well,
Yeah, he's seen the BMW that he drive, the Mercedes that he was drive,
I'm gonna say it like this:
and that Porsche Cayenne that
it's
he
the
now
same.
drives.
It's the same person that Bishop had to pretty much the following Sunday after Bishop had invited him. He was talking about how tithing, not tithing. He talked about tipping the preacher makes them preach better and so forth, and
Yeah.
that's why his people come and bring their offering, tip him as he's preaching. And Bishop got up. He said, "No, y'all don't have to do that for me. No, 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 no. This is not that type of church.
Mm-mm.
This
Mm-mm.
is not that type of church. I don't want y'all to get this misconstrued.
At all.
I don't know." And then he went on and he just kind of corrected that action. And if
But
you,
he continues to do it because that's the mantra that he lives by.
mm-hmm,
And people have to wake up and see what that really is.
mm-hmm,
You know, that is, there are a few things that bother me about that. That's cultish.
mm-hmm,
It is fleecing.
mm-hmm,
It is manipulation and mind
mm-hmm.
control. You know, you would have someone to believe that the only way that they are going to be blessed is by laying money at your feet.
Exactly. And
You
please,
don't have to lay no money
that's
at your feet.
that's garbage.
It is definitely, because the Bible says that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness
And the
thereof. The
fullness there.
hills on a thousand hills belong to me. Why would I be God? He provides. Now it also says that the poor you have with you always. Okay.
Mm-hmm,
So as long as the earth remains, we always gonna have poor people for
mm-hmm.
some reason or another. There are going to be some people that are going to be poor. I just thank the Lord that at this moment I'm not one of them. Hallelujah.
Thankful. Ah.
Thank God. I
Mm-hmm.
ain't saying that to be better than anybody. I'm just saying thank the Lord,
All
because you
right.
never know, a moment can change a lifetime.
That's
But I'm
right.
not chasing down riches.
Exactly.
I am looking for, trying to strive to have a better life.
Of
But I'm not
course.
chasing down riches and filthy lucre. And I'm definitely not going to um, go at the people of God to get something
Oh man, please.
and
It's
use them
I don't
for
know
it.
if this needs to be a conversation for another day, but it's just so many gimmicks at this
It's
point in the
way
house of
too
the
many
Lord, and,
gimmicks.
it's
Way,
pitiful. It's
way.
pitiful. If I gotta if I gotta uh, wait for a word from God based upon my seed and my gift, something wrong with that.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Something
sir.
wrong
Something
with
is
that.
dead
And
wrong with
and
it.
as Bishop would say, some of these people, some he said, now this is the way he would say it. He said, now there's a true gift of prophecy, and I believe in the prophetic and so forth. He said, but there's many that's out here now that they're in it for profit.
Profit.
They're in it for profit.
Yeah,
There ain't no profits. They in it for profit.
that's right.
And I think that's what we have to just be careful. I don't know how much more time we have, but
We about to wrap it up.
But
We-
I think we have to be careful, and pay attention to those small details.
Yes, sir.
You know, God is always going to look out for His people. God's going
He
to always
is.
take care of us, and just open your eyes, saints. That's
Mhm.
all I would say.
That's it.
In the
Open
closing
your
remark, that's what I would say. Open your eyes.
That's it. Open your eyes. Make sure that you are paying attention to
Hmm.
what's going on. We really have to start making sure that it's important that these churches and the people that go to these churches understand. You need church pastors. You need a succession plan so that your church is not in this situation that we are in.
Hmm.
You need to make sure that your church pastors that are listening, members that are on boards, that
Hmm.
are on this podcast, that are listening to us talk, you need to ensure that your church is set up with a succession plan and that it aligns up with your bylaws that give your people the opportunity, because you don't want someone to come in and do to you what Dennis Hutchins has done to this church, what he did to another church, what
Hmm.
he did to another church prior to us. So we are the only ones who actually stood up against it, I believe. I think by the time the other people realized what was happening, it
Yeah. It
may
was.
have been too late.
Mm.
Or during that time, it was just, you don't say anything, let's just be quiet, let's just leave it alone. And the reason that he feels it was so easy for him to do it is because of two things. The first thing is he was slapped on the first thing is, he's like he said in court the other day, I'm doing it because this is what I've seen other people do on, I've seen other pastors do this. So number
Hmm.
one, he threw all y'all Kojic pastors that he called y'all friends under the bus. So what he's saying is that y'all out here stealing from the people. That's what he's saying. And then the second part of that is he received a slap on the wrist.
Mm.
But don't mind the fact that there are so many families, and I keep going back to this because what you did was damage to the people of God. And the Bible says, woe unto them that
Yes, sir.
scatter. You might get away with it now, but God is not mocked.
Hmm.
Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. And you may have
Absolutely.
gotten away with it in the past, but don't think that God is asleep on anything. Grace and mercy follow you. Grace and mercy follow you. That's my prayer for you. Grace and mercy follow you.
Mm.
That's my prayer for him. And
My,
it be
my.
grace and mercy, because you ruin people's lives. You think about the countless people, the husbands, the wives, the children, the mothers, the fathers, the saints, whose lives were ruined, and you just up and disappeared, and you start your life afresh somewhere else. After you done
Hmm.
came through and ruined these people's lives. Now we are battling the same thing. And then you taking the money that belonged to the church, paying all
Wow.
crooked lawyers,
Mm.
crooked lawyers. God has the last say. I just want to make sure that I am in his, not his permissive will, not only his permissive will, but his divine perfect will. That's my contentious, my heart and prayer is that I stay in God's perfect will. Now, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I'm shutting it down because we actually went past our time. But I thank God for each and every one of you who stopped in to be with us, to share, to see, to listen in. Like, we had a very, very emotional day yesterday, in court. It, it wasn't long, by time means, but it was long and emotionally draining. Um, but at the same time, we still went to the house of the Lord. We went to the house of the Lord and we laid out before the Lord, and we praised and we worshiped, and we had an awesome word from the Lord. Never forget, I'm telling y'all, people, the season that we are in is a season that God wants to see us have exponential faith. What do I mean by that? He wants us to have the faith that supersedes anything that we can see with our physical eyes, anything that we can hear with our ears that is not of the supernatural. So we are asking God, God wants us to stretch out, have that crazy, crazy, crazy faith. Because if I believe that God can do anything, then I believe God to be able to do everything. And that's my prayer, that God is able to do everything, period, because that's the kind of God that He is. And so I want you all to have that type of faith and to understand. Walk in boldness, ladies and gentlemen. Walk in holy boldness. Do not be afraid to say what the Holy Ghost told you. Walk in truth, walk in righteousness. That's right, mama. God can do everything. And I'm just crazy enough to believe that He is going to do the seemingly impossible, even in this thing. Because right now, this fight that we are in, it seems like it's impossible. There's not going to be anything like, can God do something with this? We're worried about the wrong thing. What I want y'all to understand is that whatever God does, He's going to do it. He's going to do it. And nothing is going to happen unless He allows it to. He's sovereign. He's God over us. He God over Dennis. He God over everything. He is God. He is God. He is God. And that's all I got to say about that. Ladies and gentlemen, saints and friends, I appreciate you. We appreciate you all for being with us on tonight. If Conversations with the Culture, will see you all again on next week. Hopefully, we will have another better update. But I'm telling y'all, before I go, remember this: the judge is in the process of making a decision. Twice he has said this already. Two times he has said. The first time he said, "You all don't need me. You can make this decision on your own." That's what he said, right? He said it again on yesterday, which means that he recognizes that the bylaws that were signed into order in 1999 are valid. We have a voice. New Life Church of Orlando, we have a voice in the matter. Your voice matters. Your voice counts. We have a voice. I want you to go in your closet and pray to God and thank Him for your voice. You have a voice. The bylaws constitution state, and you have a voice. You have a voice. You have a voice. The judge said it. You all don't need me. So while these people are wasting our money, and y'all need to check that, while the money is coming in and he's using the money to sue to keep us out of the church, because that's what the whole injunction was, is to keep the people out of the church, because we are disturbing them. They don't even want us on the property at the same time that they are on the property. They don't even want us on the property. But they are welcome to come to any service that we have. We will never treat you wrong. We will never ostracize you. We will never kick you out. We will never roll our eyes at you. We won't do it, because the church belongs to the people. The problem is the leadership is jacked up.